next part, and I hope that this is the final part. So how in the world then does Satan cause these people who really love you, but they are treating you like nyoko, dust, something underneath the say very expensive? How under heaven? You know, are they? Do you deal with them like I said earlier? Fasting and prayer, right? You need to stand in the gap for them, but also Labantu are holding on to their own entities, right? And how does the devil try and finish them off? Because Satan wants about the gates of Hades will never prevail against the church. He then tries to make these people attempt to finish the church off. They can't prosper against Isonto Lega Somandla. They can't. They cannot prosper against God's church, guys. So when they try to finish the church off, Satan is in effect finishing them off. He is finishing them off because what's about the gates of Hades will not prevail against the church. We will conquer inevitably. We will overwhelm them inevitably. And so Satan wants us to overwhelm them so that they can just drop like dominoes. But it is better to stand in the gap like Aaron, putting his stuff down that the rest of the Hebrews might be saved, rather than letting them die, all of them, like Sodom and Gomorrah. If you can snatch them from the flames, then snatch them. Batla khopula somandla Jesu lady mercy sa gage di heleng forever. They've got carbon dioxide exiting out of their lungs and inhaling extra oxygen. Their hearts are still beating. Their blood is still flowing through their veins. You cannot on that day be like a khatet and nakut like a ditlhare lerato o pinky o maina ekasmug ke ka tlhokafala cause wang bor. The Lord sometimes does extract witches stubborn out of the way by killing them because they are they are like a snare unto him. There's actually a testimony that I was listening to of some other dude on that same channel, Dr. Maimela. This man mudimo o mo wonile and you are wearing my saints out. You're dying. Mara before tlhokafala, this is where you're going. He showed him hell, and that's how he came out of the darkness. Well, Christ wants us to show these people hell, that they might realize that he's going to kill them if they don't stop, because God is not going to continue to allow YouTube channel it is literally stagnated. Anyway, I'm trying to get my life back together again. They're blocking the gospel. Thank God I'm getting taken up on Facebook and on TikTok. But YouTube is my main environment because I need to convert it into a business, and these people are sitting on it. But would you rather be dropped like a domino, like random friend, random family member, or would you rather live to tell the story? I just feel as if though I have no healing forever. They don't believe there is a hell because they believe that in the power that Satan has given them, and they feel as if that they can finish this thing off. Thinking that God will just overlook this nonsense, and so the pride in them of coming out to a church, having been in the church all this time, is just thwarting them, preventing them from coming out. They are telling themselves, I know what I'm doing and I'm special. You can let them die. Stop fasting, but you will mourn their deaths. You will mourn their deaths. You in and of yourself, you're safe, you're covered, you're protected, but are you prepared that that you were best friends with up until matric because finally the demons caught up with her? Are you prepared to accept ex-boyfriend that you were very much in love with for 5 years in a car accident? Do you seriously think that a man that you loved for that long just like that, especially considering persecuted a Christian? So his punishment is especially fervent, and he grew up in a country where the gospel was being preached, so his punishment is especially fervent. Are you prepared to deal with that on your conscience? Ex-boyfriend 10 years ago. We have a responsibility to stand in the gap, guys. As a nation, we can rescue these guys. They don't all have to die. Last night I entered into a fervent prayer asking the Lord to bind in chains the entities that indwell these people. Let the people be saved. Those nooses around their necks that are only waiting to hang them, let those nooses be bound in the flames of hell. For whatever it is that we bind in heaven will be bound on earth, and whatever we loose in heaven will be loosed on earth. So I sought the Lord's face to save them, because I keep on seeing suicides all over the show, and I'm like, Father, let the entity of death that wants to take these people's lives, let that be go bound in chains for 1,000 years, for 500 years, for eternity. And let these people deal a shot at redemption. Let them come out scot-free, albeit having to deal with the limp of Jacob, reputational damage. You can enter heaven. You can enter the rest of the Most High. Let the demons be the ones to go to hell. Erotona dieko Hades, dieko Gehenna, dieko Sheol. But let the people live, even if it means they have a bad reputation. And the world is gonna shun them, but the church won't. The church will embrace them and their testimonies. That was my prayer last night. And that's why I am doing this long, lengthy message. I had, I guess, the guilt of the church at Ephesus, where I hated the works of the Nicolaitans. I hated the teachings of those wicked men and women. If you, according to 1 Corinthians 13, can sing like an angel and do all this, but you have not love, you are like a loud gong and a clanging cymbal. Lerato is the most important thing. We need to love them enough even to fast on their behalf and pray on their behalf, that entities might be arrested but not them, because we war not against flesh and blood. Not personally, it's like bonke abantu bakithi, friends and family were in a car, like accident, pile up, and they all died in one sitting. Or go, I use the example of Final Destination at flight 181 or whatever, where all my family members and friends were in a border, all of them in one sitting. I came to Christ and they all died. That's not a loss I can take in my stride. I'm sorry. Maybe I'd be able to deal with one ex cases. It's like, oops, I guess Jomo died. Mara, I said Jomo le refile le renelo le pinkile mina le khothatso le Jono le yo guys, I live on I'm sorry, I don't have that heart. I cannot pelo ya go tsaya mafu a makana, because right now they're facing mafu. They are facing death. God is he wants to spit them out of his mouth. He is exceptionally wrathful and he will not take it anymore. And in the absence of us standing together and fasting, you have a vested interest in doing that as a nation, South Africa. Why? Because many of them are in your families, even though you don't know. Not every one of you where you get to see wonke umuntu okuthakathayo. So you will be surprised cousin yakho uyithandayo seyishonile manje isibhodisile. Suicide. Uyipolaya guilty. Unalatelo tsomorago ke di demons. I don't know how many times I have seen Rick committing suicide over and 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 over again. And I'm like, but the guy's already dead, God. God is like, no, Garabo. I'm not showing you Rick. I am showing you a Rick archetype. He's an archetype. Monna onyetse ona le bana le basadi abatsamaya lo ihenga one day because matimonya a mojoditse nyoko abaipolaya. Mara Ricky ke cousin ke ex-boyfriend ke this ke that. Can you take in your stride all these dominoes dropping? And I was like, Father, I might be mad, but no. He was like, then pray and talk, preach, speak, highlight these things, get people on their knees or barapele. Polosa Rick archetype from the flames of hell. The staff Ega Aaron that is put in the middle to prevent all of these dominoes from tipping is like literally putting a staff down with abo Rick abe 100,000 on this side, down bayas bulala, they're dead, but there's 500,000 on this side. Save the 500,000, however many you can salvage, stand in the gap. But Niwan, I can only save 1,000 Ricky Ricks, but 2 of us can save 10,000 Ricky Ricks, 3 of us 100,000, and so on and so forth, and so it goes exponentially. There is power in prayer, and fasting. We can save these people. They are holding on to their demons because one, and secondly, they don't know Monobona is satanically inspired, and they also are protecting demons when they know not what they do. The devil wants to take them to hell. Satan doesn't have a second chance. They do, but they will go and burn, and especially because they persecuted the church and because they will have lain entire nations waste. Their domino effects would have lain entire nations waste and caused God's people to languish, tarry, and struggle to minister. They will burn, especially effervescently in the flames of hell. We have a responsibility to the souls of abangan betu, nama family members etu, that deny they're in the occult, that give pastors attitude when they call them out on satanic activity. I've been dealing with that for years. Hold on, because the thing that's going to set them free to acknowledge that they were whack is freeing them from the initial batch of demons. After that, it's more deliverance, but first they have to get to that place where they are like, what have I done? I got a figure there. Next part, hopefully final.